Hello, I'm Colette and I'm going to be making a short documentary. Why am I making a documentary? I'm going to be interviewing this guy and this guy. I want to find out if bikes are a justifiable means of transport, because if they are, why isn't everybody using them? Why are we still using vehicles? Do we use this because it's just so much easier? Have we got lazy? I meet a fantastic guy. Will Bryan rode the width of Britain. That was for one of his charities. His next adventure is going to be to ride from Scotland to Spain. I know, amazing.
So the Sustrans National Cycle Network is over 16,000 miles of cycle network around the UK, and it's maintained by Sustrans, owned and maintained by Sustrans, and 50% of the population live within 1 mile of it, so it's open to everyone.
Yeah, I use the National Cycle Network. Well, I probably 70% of the ride was. The rest I kind of improvised.
There is routes under development all the time. It's expanding hugely. Lots of the new network will be disused railway lines. So that's where it's expanding.
But are our roads really safe? Is this the reason why?
I think it's very easy to pass blame and say the government needs to make the roads safer. The government needs to put more cycle routes out there. But what actually needs to happen is the desire to come from within.
But what about the Department for Transport statistics? There were 5 deaths per day and 62 serious injuries in 2014. That's a 4% rise since 2013. Does this not put you off? Are motorists to blame?
I've done a lot of charity work recently. 2015 alone saw me cycle the width of Britain in 1 day. Usually it's done in 3 to 5 days. I've done it on this touring bike actually. A lot of people use carbon fibre bikes which weigh about an eighth. The whole ride took around 16 hours, and the total climb of the ride was just under 8,000 feet, all the way through the Lake District to the Pennines. So I've done that one in 1 day. I've run 3 marathons in 3 consecutive days. I've spent 7 days and 7 nights homeless for charity as well. I've run the National 3 Peaks. I've cycled and kayaked over 100 miles for a different course. And this year will see me cycle from John O'Groats to Barcelona, 1,800 miles.
So why don't we all do this? Especially if we can save money. What if the fuel ran out? What if there were no means to be able to use cars? What would we do then? We would have to use bikes. They used to use bikes in World War I and World War II. So why don't we use them more often now? Is it because it's just easier to jump in a car, even to the shops that are just around the corner? Is it because we're too busy now with our work?
I think we live in a world now where it's all based on convenience. And I don't think cycling has ever been more relevant. As you'll see, I live in a van, and it's not rare for me to just jump in the van and go and buy a bottle of milk or a loaf of bread. I'll certainly not think about going on my bike. But I think it's about getting away from that whole frame of mind, that whole thought process.
Look at this 1872 Claude Monet painting. Originally bicycles developed from the hobby horse. Some inventors include Pierre Lallemant, Marius Olivier, Kirkpatrick Macmillan and Pierre Michoud. The penny farthing developed after people were seen riding them 23 miles from 1887. They must have been fit.
There are so many benefits to cycling, it's untrue. not just the health benefits, and you're saving the planet. We all know that cycling is a green method of transport, but when you consider escapism, the whole idea that just a 2-minute ride to the shops could unravel into an adventure is something that I find so appealing, and I think there's a lot of people out there that should just take to the roads on their bike. You haven't got to be super fit, you haven't got to have a huge budget for the bike.
But then surely, if it's better for our health, better for our planet and saves us money, then why wouldn't more of us be doing it? This is what I want to find out.
There are many other reasons to cycle. It saves a lot of money. You don't have to pay car tax or insurance or petrol. It's good for the environment because you're not polluting it. It's also good for your mental health as well. It's one of the Department of Health's recent reports specifically says cycling is good for both physical and mental health.
So you guys took part in a survey. Let's take a look at the results.
66% of you use motor vehicles, 83% think cycle paths are not safe for motor vehicles, and 96% think more can be done to make our roads safer, along with 88% for our cycle paths to be safer.
Maybe we need new inventions to make this safe, to make more people want to do it. Because what if fuel ran out or we didn't have access to vehicles anymore? What would we do? Would we only be able to work locally?
There are definitely more convenient, faster and safer forms of transport out there. As you'll soon find out, I live in a van. But that doesn't mean that cycling isn't a relevant form of transport.
In conjunction with other forms of transport. So if I wanted to get to London, for example, I'd get the train to London and take my bike with me, and then at the other end unfold my bike and pedal off to wherever I was going to. I do that all the time. My region is the East Midlands, so I go to Nottingham, Derby, Birmingham all the time on the train, and then at the other end just unpack my bike and go.
Why don't we build like a tunnel or a cycle route or path that goes under a tunnel that's protective, so it's safe as well? I can see hundreds and hundreds of people on their bikes travelling together, say from Northampton to Milton Keynes to get to work. I can see that, I can vision that. Surely that's the way forward. Plus, it's quite simple to build at the side of a motorway. Surely it can be done. There's enough room. Maybe not on the cycle paths on the road, but certainly on a motorway. Maybe this is the way forward so people can start travelling to work, getting fitter. You'd be able to travel 25 miles daily, I'm sure. They used to do it in the war.
At the moment, getting on a train with a bicycle can be fairly tricky if you don't have a folding bike. Generally, you're only allowed 5 bikes to a train and you have to book them in. And they have to go in a special compartment at the front of the train. Alternatively, if you have a folding bike, if you're lucky enough to have a folding bike, you can just take it on as luggage. So that's not a problem.
For those who think that they may struggle with a really long bike ride or just a long journey to work, the park and ride system offers a fantastic solution. Being able to drive your car or your van halfway to work and then pull out your bike off the bike rack or the back of the van and then just travel the rest of the journey by bike. It's a fantastic convenience, and it's a way of joining both methods of transport with just jumping on a bike and having that reconnection with nature, being able to reflect on your thoughts and just enjoying that little adventure on the way to work.
So, has it changed your mind? Will you ride the width of Britain? Or will you ask your local council to create a cycle path or cycle route? My conclusion is, maybe it can't be done presently, but in the future, definitely. I think with some tweaking, this could work.